Hey guys, what's up? It's Sydney and welcome back to my channel and to a random video that I'm gonna put out actually on Tuesday. So as you're seeing this, it will be fucking Tuesday. But the reason why I'm putting it out on Tuesday is because I'm going to be on vacation and I leave on Tuesday evening. So there's not going to be a video on Wednesday, but I am going to put out this one for you guys. It's just something that I was like thinking about one day and wanted to kind of like make a video about. So this is going to be commonly used phrases that we all use and the history behind them, because I said something the other day and I can't fucking remember what it was. What was it? Oh, I said to my son, I was like, I caught you red-handed. And I thought about it and I was like, where does that come from? I'm like, what do you mean caught you red-handed? And in my head, I'm like thinking this and I was like, I'm gonna look it up. So I looked it up and I found a bunch of shit that's like super interesting that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about. So we're gonna start with that. So caught you red-handed, the reason why that is a phrase, it's because people would actually steal each other's animals back in the day. And the only way that a person was able to be charged as guilty for stealing an animal from like their neighbor or something is if they still had the fucking blood on their hands and it was fresh. So even if they had like the meat or whatever of the animal, they couldn't be charged as guilty. Another one would be bite the bullet. So I have said this many times in my life and had no idea where it came from. And it's very, very odd, but it is exactly what you would think the history would be behind. So they used to make soldiers in the wartime bite down on bullets because the surgeons did not have time to like administer like an anesthetic. So they basically had to bite down on bullets to help with the pain. And that's where we get the term bite the bullet. Another one we use frequently is break the ice. As in you want to break the ice with somebody, try to get to know them maybe. And the reason why we have this term is because before there were actually cars and trains and stuff, ships were the #1 transportation. So the ships would get stuck in ice because the water would freeze over. So they had specific boats that were called icebreakers, and they would basically pave the way for the ships to go through and make the deliveries, because that's what we used for our primary trade. So that's where we get the term break the ice. So the phrase butter someone up comes from the ancient Indian cultures, and basically what they would do is toss little balls of clarified butter at the statues of the gods. And this was for blessings and favor. And that's where we get the term butter someone up. This is a phrase that I actually commonly heard when I was a child because I was a crazy child. My mother would always tell me, don't run amok. The phrase run amok actually comes from tribesmen in Malaysia. And this term came from the fact that the tribesmen would actually get very, very high on opium and they would act very crazy. They would like attack people and stuff. And that's why the term run amok exists in our language. So the term the rub the wrong way comes from colonial America, and basically they all had servants, and the servants would have to wet rub and dry rub the oak floorboards, and if you rubbed the floorboards against the grain, then it would actually make streaks in the wood and it would make the floors look very ugly, and the homeowners did not appreciate this. So that's why we have the term rub the wrong way. The term let your hair down comes from Paris nobles, and they would basically take hours to construct extravagant hairstyles, and that was kind of like their status symbol back in the day. So it would take hours for them to do this, like I said. So it was kind of a ritualistic thing for them to let their hair down when they got home. So that's where we get the term let your hair down. The term show your true colors was actually a very commonly used phrase by sailors, and they basically were not allowed to fire until they were showing their true colors, because at the time enemy ships would fly multiple flag colors to confuse the opposing side, and they basically would show their true colors as ready to fire. The term sleep tight comes from the Shakespearean time actually, and they used to use ropes to basically hold up the beds for in between the bed frames. You would have to tighten the ropes to have like a firm mattress. So that's where the term sleep tight comes from. And these last three are my absolute favorite. So this one, and everybody I'm sure has heard this at least 100 times in their life, is cat got your tongue. And cat got your tongue is a phrase that comes from people actually getting their tongues cut out when they were found guilty for being liars or blasphemers. Blasphemers, I think that's right. And they would actually feed the tongues to cats, so that's pretty gross. Saved by the Bell. I'm sure some of you know where this term comes from, but in the older days, people were very afraid of getting buried alive. So what they would do is have bells with strings attached to their coffins. And basically, if they were to get buried alive or trapped, they would be able to pull the string and ring the bell outside of the coffin to let someone know that they were still alive. They even hired guards to watch the grounds at night to make sure that there were no bells being rung. They had to sit and listen for them. So that's where the term Saved by the Bell comes from. And last but not least, my all-time favorite is woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And this basically comes from the old adage saying that anything having to do with the left side of your body is actually wicked or evil. So people would always say, I hope you woke up on the right side of the bed. This is why many people had their beds pushed up against the wall along the left side of the bed, so that way they were forced to wake up on the right side of the bed. So those are just some interesting phrases that I thought you guys might be interested in learning the history behind, because I thought it was fascinating. And if you want me to make another one of these videos, let me know. I wasn't thinking about doing a series, but it's actually kind of a cool subject. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. If you want to give me a follow, you can at Sydney's Poisonous. And my jewelry shop where I sell crystals and stuff like this is at Perfect Poison Shop. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I will see you guys next week after my vacation.